Ryan Fleming can help you chart out a course for your retirement with his intimate knowledge of financial planning and the airline industry. It's time for the Pilot's Advisor.
It's another edition of the Pilot's Advisor, and on today's show, we're talking about why retirement planning ain't what it used to be. We're with Ryan Fleming, of course, financial advisor, and your host of the show here of Retire Pilots, serving you all across the world. Find us online at retirepilots.com for lots of great resources and more information. You know, Ryan, in some ways, retirement planning was easier for past generations, and I want to explore on today's show how a good financial advisor helps people overcome the additional challenges we face today. If you are just relying on past experience of family members, maybe parents or grandparents, well, things have changed so much that you may not be putting yourself in the best position to succeed in your own financial life if you're just relying, again, on that previous experience. Would you agree that retirement planning is definitely more difficult than it used to be?
Absolutely. And I also think that pilots out there have no clue how much they truly have to focus on their future. Historically, you went to one company, you worked there for 30 years, they kicked out a pension, and that pension was inflation adjusted, and you retired and lived happily ever after, and that the money showed up in your account every single month, and life was good. Well,
yeah, it was kind of a done-for-you sort of thing, right?
Well, absolutely, and you didn't have to worry about it. But we're in a whole new world today, and it's up to you to figure out how you're going to plan for retirement and save for retirement. And it's very unfortunate because I would say most individuals, most pilots out there have no clue how much they truly have to save to continue their current lifestyle in retirement.
Great points, Ryan. So let's use this as our launching point for one of the ways retirement planning ain't what it used to be, and it's that done-for-you method, that pension style. They're rarer now, and Social Security, really the only retirement income stream that many people have sort of organically, and that's a big dynamic shift that's happened in the workforce.
It absolutely is, and after 9/11, most of the airline industry filed bankruptcy. So all the legacy carriers or the passenger carriers out there, the Deltas, the Uniteds, you guys lost your pensions. The American Airlines pilot, the pensions are gone. And a few of the older pilots have the PBGC, which is going to give them a small replacement of the pension they thought they were going to have. But almost every air carrier now does not have a pension, and it's up to you to save for retirement. The only ones really out there are UPS and FedEx. And I can tell you right now, when I'm planning retirement income strategies for a legacy carrier versus a passenger carrier, it's a totally different ballgame. And there's a lot more that's on your plate than you realize. And so saving and starting early is something that you really need to look at. And if you haven't come up with a plan, or you just got hired at one of these legacy carriers, I would definitely recommend reaching out so we can start looking at truly how much you have to save to continue with your current lifestyle.
That's a good point. Let's also talk about life expectancies, because you know what? They're a lot longer now, Ryan. So we have more and more years of retirement to fund. It's not difficult to do the math there to see the problems that arise.
Yeah, and I think this is probably a big shift that the pensions have had. I mean, companies started realizing as people lived longer and longer, they really couldn't afford to hand out pensions to people as, for a 30 or 40-year retirement. And so over time, I think there's been a big shift in many things. I think corporations are no longer really caring as much about their employees. It's all about the bottom line and squeezing the turnip. And it's all about, the shareholders and stockholders giving them more investment return. And we're taking it away from the employee, which is really sad, but that's the direction we're going. But yes, I mean, the medical fields continue to improve, and people are living longer and longer. I saw on a commercial the other day that they think that the person that's going to live to be 130 years old has already been born. And with that being said, it's even more pressure on you to actually save for retirement, because you might have a 30 or 40-year retirement. Once you retire, you got what you got, and it's about making that money last. And I think that if you're not planning for, at minimum, a 30-year retirement, then you're probably wrong. And so retirement planning is more and more of an issue. And the airline industry is actually better than other industries. We have fantastic 401k plans. We have airlines that are putting quite a bit of a percentage of whatever we make into our B fund. And if you don't understand what a B fund is, you might want to reach out as well.
It's a great point. And if you want to reach out, you can call or text Ryan at 843-475-3038, 843-475-3038. Now, they aren't as low as they were, Ryan, but interest rates still in general are lower than historically speaking. So you can't really make money with savings accounts, money markets, CDs, those kinds of things anymore.
I don't even know what those things are.
Yeah, they've dropped so far off the math, right?
Yeah, and it's just a change in lifestyle. Also, I think that, well, especially right now, we're seeing inflation go off the map. I mean, we've had historic inflation below 3%. I think we've got kind of used to that, and here we are now with 8 or 9% inflation. But investing your money in money markets or saving accounts or CDs, we call it going broke very, very safely. I mean, if you have money sitting in your checking or savings account right now, you're losing 8 or 9% per year by letting it sit there. And unfortunately, in the world we live in, you have to invest your money to try to beat inflation. And, with the way inflation is right now, you need that much more juice to keep the buying power where it is. And if you haven't really looked into inflation and how your buying power is going to be reduced in retirement, you need to wake up and see it. I think a lot of pilots are dealing with this right now because a lot of airlines are in contract negotiations, and these 2 and 3% pay raises aren't cutting it anymore. Pilots are feeling the pain. They're not able to have the same purchasing power they did back in the 90s. And the pensions haven't moved. FedEx's pension has not moved, and it does not have a cost of living adjustment, and it hasn't changed since the early 90s. And so right now with contract negotiations, I think pilots are finally understanding it, and they're willing to stand up and fight because our quality of life is being reduced. Absolutely.
Hey, if you're ready to have clarity and thrive in your retirement, you're in the right place, and I've got another resource for you to check out. Go to retirepilots.com and look right there on the homepage. You'll be able to click Get My Free Toolkit. What this is going to do is help you get for free Ryan's Retirement Toolkit. This is going to include his 2 books, The Pilot's Advisor and Pilots Retire Early, revealing the 9 critical decisions when retiring and the 7 lessons to save your retirement. Not only does it include the books, but lots of other goodies packed into this free toolkit that'll be sent to you ASAP. It's a great starting place for any pilot to begin their retirement journey. Go to retirepilots.com. Well, Ryan, we see these issues pop up like pensions, life expectancy, interest rates, but then we also see what could be a positive. We get a lot more information at our fingertips now. Available to us in seconds. But the negative of this and why retirement planning ain't what it used to be is that it can be counterproductive because some people get that paralysis by analysis, right?
I think that there's so many problems with social media and 24-hour news right now that it does create that paralysis by analysis or that doom and gloom. But one thing I can tell you is having instant access to your portfolios and instant access to the markets is not a good thing. Not only is it unhealthy, but it causes people not to implement strategies. They kind of give up. I recently talked to a prospect who's living a good life. He's an airline pilot, has 10 years to retirement, but he's continued to ignore the fact that he's not where he needs to be saving for retirement. We had to have a little bit of a wake-up call. And it's funny, when I started trying to explain to him how much money he had to save to keep up his current lifestyle, and if he didn't, that his lifestyle is going to drastically change in a short period of time. But this individual emailed me back and texted me a couple times after our conversation and just said that, he knew it was a problem, but he really appreciated me, bringing it to the light. And it was as hard as it was a conversation that needed to be had. I think that constantly having that information in our face does hurt, but ignoring it and not implementing it and not taking massive action is not going to fix the problem. And you need to do it while you're young and can work. Because once you're 65 for pilots, you have to retire. I want to get you to be able to retire at 60 if you want to. But once you retire, you're not going to find a job out there that's going to help give you the same lifestyle as you have right now. So planning and being disciplined is a huge part of this equation.
If you want to have conversations with Ryan, talk a little bit about these kinds of things, call or text him at 843-475-3038. 3038, or go online to retirepilots.com. Contact information in the description of today's show as well. Let's touch on one last thing. It's what we've all been experiencing this year, volatility in the stock market. It also seems to be more and more pronounced with each passing year. Is that just a feeling, Ryan, or is that another example of why retirement planning ain't what it used to be?
Well, I think it's a reality. I mean, if you look at the last 3 years alone, we've had massive shifts in the market, 30% down to 30% up. I mean, it's kind of the name of the game, and it becomes even more apparent for you to rebalance and be unemotional with your money because you got to make the right decisions. And I think there's more pitfalls today than there has been historically where we had a less volatile market. At the same time, these huge shifts provide a lot of opportunity for upside potential. And I think if you're sitting there in with this down market and you don't really know what you're doing, it's a great time to rebalance your account and reallocate and take advantage of this market when it does come back, because it will. But these volatile markets are scary. They're really scary, and especially if you're nearing retirement and your portfolio is 20% down and you don't have a plan or you haven't planned for this, it can be really, really scary. And we're here to help. So please reach out.
Again, the ways to reach out, retirepilots.com, or call or text 843-475-3038. Find out how you can properly prepare for your retirement future. Ryan, appreciate the help. Thank you so much once again for the guidance on the show today and pointing out these ways that retirement planning ain't what it used to be. And we'll have another good episode on tap for next time around.
Thank you, Walter. Have a wonderful day. Everyone fly safe out there.
Information is for illustrative purposes only and does not constitute tax, investment, or legal advice. Always consult with a qualified investment, legal, or tax professional before taking any action.